Welcome everyone and thank you so much for joining in. Yes, this is going to be huge for Bitcoin. The scenario that I'm going to show you in today's video, if this is exactly what is also unfolding right now here in price action of Bitcoin, then this is a sign of a trend reversal, because when we had this kind of similar scenario unfolding here in past Bitcoin price action, after that we saw a really nice impulsive price movement playing out. So if this is exactly what is also going to happen next for Bitcoin, then what kind of obstacle we have to overcome, and also if we do see any sort of a failure around this price range, then what could be also playing out for Bitcoin. I will be showing you all this scenario in today's video, so please watch it till the end. So now, starting this here in a daily time frame, I want to keep it very simple. If you have been following me for a while, you know I have talked about this Wyckoff's reaccumulation phase, and why, according to this Wyckoff reaccumulation phase, since the price of Bitcoin was also following this exact movement, I mean after this double top here, after this double top, you can see we saw this price retracement, and now if this is going to be more of a range bound type of scenario, then we were more than happy to see that. Why? Because this is a reaccumulation phase. After this reaccumulation phase, price usually continue this rally here to the upper direction, just like as shown here in example. But the reason why we saw this retracement was not just only because of the reaccumulation phase from Wyckoff. If you are aware, I have shown you this non-failure swing. According to the non-failure swing, if we look in our example, guys, let me show you one more time here. According to the non-failure swing, if we look at this point A and point C, right, these are impulsive movement. Point B, point D, and point F are corrective price movement. And according to the non-failure swing, you can see once the price forms this point C's and see any sort of a retracement, breaks out of this point B area, which is also the S1 line, right, just like as shown here in example, we broke out of this S1 line, price sees a retracement. After reaching the point D, we will see some relief rally, but this relief rally will never close above this point B or the S1 resistance line. And if you look in our case, guys, after seeing this price retracement, when we had this point A, right, point C, point D, and now you can see if this was actually above the point B area, then it would have been invalid, but it played out perfectly. Price of Bitcoin got rejected around this point E area, and then we had this price reversal, right? You can see price reversal. So now, according to the non-failure swing, this played out absolutely perfectly. Now, according to this Wyckoff, we could see some range bound type of scenario playing out. But if the support here to the downside is going to get broken, I mean, if the price of Bitcoin will start showing a movement where we break the previous low area, then this bullish scenario or this Wyckoff's reaction phase is going to be invalid. And in that case, right, in that case, the price of Bitcoin could be starting this new movement here to the downward direction. Why? Because according to this Wyckoff price cycle, you can see in our case, after the price of Bitcoin showed this range bound type of scenario here, we had this Markov phase, right? After this Markov phase, we had this distribution phase with swing involved. You can see here with spring involved, just like as shown in example. And after the failing to find support at this distribution area, the low line area, we will start this new markdown phase. And in our case, this markdown phase is playing out. So if this is going to be a complete Wyckoff's price cycle and price is just going to see this temporary relief rally before heading to the downside, then we are aware the price of Bitcoin is not allowed to break below the 42,000 price area. So that is the reason why I'm actually showing you this. If the price of Bitcoin is going to see more of a range bound type of scenario, we are more than happy to see that. Why? Because that will turn out to be a reaccumulation phase for Wyckoff. But I will add another twist in this scenario. If you are aware, many are talking about the falling wedge around this price range. Does it actually make sense? Yes. And why? And also what could be happening if this falling wedge is going to play out for Bitcoin? Let me show you here. So right now, what we are going to do in a 4-hour time frame, if we simply add this falling trend line, guys, you can see very clearly falling wedge type of scenario. Because if you look at this falling wedge, you can see the lower line here was an extremely important line of support, and the upper line was an extremely important line of resistance. It didn't let the price to break out of it. But in our case right now, we have broken out of this upper line resistance. So if we do see any sort of a temporary relief rally again here to the downside, retesting the previous temporary waistline, and if the support is going to be there around 48,000 range, then this could be a reversal. I mean, the price of Bitcoin could be starting a new movement here to the upper direction, not just because of this falling wedge, guys, not just only because of this falling wedge, but because of this one scenario, which is also from Wyckoff's accumulation phase. Before this accumulation schematic 4 plays out, if you look at these lines properly, guys, you can see there is a falling wedge inside this accumulation phase with phase A, phase B, phase C, and phase T. You can see phase T will be the final price retracement around these lower boundaries. After that, we should see a movement here to the upper direction entering the phase A area. And now, if we use this in our falling wedge, it is going to look somehow like this, because if you look at the falling wedge, you can see perfect falling wedge. And now we are going to add the Wyckoff's accumulation phase, because according to the phase A, phase B, and phase C and D, D is the final area where the price is retracement around this lower line area before we continue this rally here to the upper direction. And in our case, this is exactly what is also unfolding right now here in price action of Bitcoin. So if this is going to be a move here to the upside in this manner, then right, we are aware the price of Bitcoin must stay above this 48,000 range and continue this price movement here in this way. So if that is going to happen here, guys, then the price of Bitcoin could actually start this new movement here to the upper direction, which is known as an accumulation phase. But if we get a rejection and price also fails to find support at this upper line area of the falling wedge and re-enters this phase E, then this bullish scenario is again going to be invalid. Why? Because in that case, right, in that case, this is going to be playing out as a three valley and a river. According to three valley and a river, if you are aware, let me show you this example one more time. So now if we look at this one simple example that we have also talked plenty of time in my video, which is known as three valley and a river pattern, because according to three valley and a river, price usually sees this move where we form this three valley, right? And when we break out of this resistance line, we start a new movement here to the upper direction. And in our case, if you look at this price movement carefully, it was actually forming lower highs, lower lows, continuation pattern, we are aware, right? But if you look at this one here, this is a higher low, and also now we are making higher highs. So if the trend is changing at this current stage, forming higher highs, higher lows continuation pattern, then you can see this exact scenario from Wyckoff could be playing out here in a medium short term for Bitcoin. So that is also a reason why the price of Bitcoin, if it is going to play out all this bullish scenario that I showed you, right, then we have to find a proper support over 48,000 and also break this one important line of resistance, which is going to invalidate this bearish scenario around 0.618 Fibonacci line. And this 0.618 Fibonacci line is lying around 49,500 price area. So if this trend wants to show an actual bullish movement, we have to break this resistance around 0.618 Fibonacci line that is lying around 49,500. And if the support is going to be there, guys, then this trend could actually play out as an accumulation. In that case, we could be expecting a similar price movement just like here from past Bitcoin price action. So that is the reason, guys, if the price of Bitcoin wants to show any sort of impulsive movement, then the 0.618 Fibonacci line must be broken at any cost, because according to the three valley and a river, you can see after breaking around this resistance line, we usually see this impulsive movement, right? If this impulsive movement is going to be an actual movement here to the upside, then we are not allowed to get rejection around this 0.618 Fibonacci line, which is the 62% of A to B. And in our case, you can see from this A till this B area, right, the lower area, the 0.61 is lying around 49,500. So that is the reason why I'm saying you, if we do see rejection around that range, right, and price again seeing this reversal, then we have to be careful, because that will lead to this three valley and a river pattern. And if it does gets a support above this range, then this three valley river is going to be invalid and price could be starting this new movement just like as shown here in an example. So these are some of the interesting scenario thoughts sharing with you in today's episode. If you enjoyed this kind of video, then come on, hit that like button, and also for those individuals watching this for the first time, hit that subscribe button and the bell. So by saying this, I'm signing out. My name is Anup. Bye bye guys.